Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and this is the Nokia 2.3. And in this video, I'm going to be going over my 5 best things and 5 worst things about this phone. So let's get started. So starting off with my favorite things about the Nokia 2.3. The first thing is the display quality. So the Nokia 2.3 features a large 6.2-inch display, which is LCD, but it features 720p display resolution, a PPI of 272, an aspect ratio of 19:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 80.7%. So considering that this phone is a very inexpensive device, I think the display does look really nice. Of course, I always like to see 1080p displays, but again, at a phone in this price range, 720p is to be expected, and this display really does look good. You can see how crisp and clear everything looks, so despite it being 720p, it's a nice looking display overall. And then again, as far as the screen to body ratio goes, you are getting a little bit of a thicker bezel there on the bottom, but up top here, you are getting a water drop notch, allowing you to fit a decently large display into a relatively small body. My second favorite thing about the Nokia 2.3 is the battery capacity. So the device features a beefy 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery, so a very large battery, which is excellent to see. So you're gonna have no issues at all getting through an entire day with this phone. And since it is featuring Android 1, the software is very well optimized to be very battery efficient as well. So you're gonna have no issues getting excellent battery life with the Nokia 2.3. So I'm really glad to see that they did decide to put in a massive 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery into this device. Now the phone isn't necessarily a thin phone, and I believe part of that reason is because they did need space for that large battery. But I certainly don't mind that. And my third favorite thing about the Nokia 2.3 is the build quality. So for a device in this price range, you don't expect too much. However, the phone feels super solid overall. We are getting a plastic build, of course, but it is one giant piece of plastic that covers the sides and back of the device. I really like this color too. This is the gold color, and it is available also in charcoal and green. So I think it looks excellent. And as far as the material on the back goes, it is not a fingerprint magnet. It doesn't really matter how much I use the phone. You cannot see any signs of fingerprints on the back, so that's definitely the way that I like it. So overall, an excellent build quality with the Nokia 2.3, and it definitely continues on the reputation that the Nokia brand has for building solid, high-quality devices. My fourth favorite thing about the Nokia 2.3 is the camera quality. So for the rear camera, we're getting actually a dual camera setup with a 13 megapixel main camera and a 2 megapixel secondary camera for portrait mode. Now many of the phones in this price range typically feature a pretty mediocre portrait mode that doesn't truly blur out the background, but with the Nokia 2.3, that's different. You are getting a true portrait mode, which you can easily access by just tapping on the portrait button, and then you can take excellent pictures that blur out the background. So it's great if you want to take some sort of picture for maybe your LinkedIn photo or any sort of high-end impressive photo that has a blurred background. So you're getting some nice depth of field with the Nokia 2.3 with the portrait mode. But things get even better. And that's because with the front-facing camera, that is 5 megapixels, it also has portrait mode. So you can take portrait mode photos with that camera as well, which I'll do right now. And of course, I wasn't smiling or anything, but you can take portrait mode photos with the front camera, which is excellent to see. And I'll show you the results right now. And you can see it does a nice job blurring out the background. Definitely a pretty awful photo of me, but it does a good job blurring out the background. And this is in kind of average lighting conditions. I do, of course, have these studio lights up here, but I'm sure if I took these portrait mode photos outdoors, the quality would be way better and they would look even more impressive. But for a device in this price range, I feel like camera quality can't really get much better. Now there's many other things that I like about the Nokia 2.3, but for my final thing that I'm going to mention in this video, that definitely has to be the software. Now I did mention in my hands-on and first impressions video that I'm a bit disappointed that the Nokia 2.3 still has Android 9 Pie, despite this being an Android 1 phone. And if you're not aware, Android One devices are supposed to get updates a lot quicker than the majority of Android phones, since the software is all the same on all these devices. It even says on the back of the box that it's Android 10 ready. But I did spend a little bit more time thinking about it, and I am happy at least that we are getting well-optimized software with the Nokia 2.3, especially considering the pretty low-end specifications with this device. And another awesome thing about it too is that it does have the most up-to-date security update. So I'll show that to you right now. Going over to System, and then Advanced, and then System Update. You can see that the phone does have the January 5th, 2020 security patch, which today is January 23rd. So it is the most up-to-date security patch. So in that sense, it's nice to see that we are getting updates on a regular basis, at least addressing security concerns, because a lot of Android devices don't even get that. But again, I'll be even more happy about the software with the Nokia 2.3 when it does finally get Android 10, because it will certainly be one of the few budget phones with the latest and greatest version of Android. Now let's go over my 5 least favorite things about the Nokia 2.3. The first thing that I don't like about this phone is that there's no fingerprint sensor. So I feel like nowadays in 2020, it really wouldn't cost Nokia too much to include a fingerprint sensor on the phone, but unfortunately we don't get one. Now they do have Face Unlock as their answer to not having a fingerprint sensor on the back. And I know that there's many other devices though that offer both a fingerprint sensor and Face Unlock for those who prefer it. And I was hoping that at least since we're only getting Face Unlock with the Nokia 2.3, it would at least be a good Face Unlock. But I've already added my face and deleted it multiple times just to make sure that I was getting the perfect scan for the quickest unlock. But even with those various attempts at adding my face to the device, you can see right there, it's very slow at actually acknowledging and then authenticating my face and unlocking the phone. Because if there's no fingerprint sensor on the back, then the Face Unlock needs to be at least near instant, but it is decently slow. So realistically, the most practical way to use this phone is probably just to put in your PIN code or maybe a swipe pattern every single time you want to unlock it, because I feel like the Face Unlock takes a bit too long. Now maybe it has something to do with my face. Maybe my face just isn't a good face for this device. I'm not sure, but I'm just telling you my experience. Go ahead and give it a try on your own and let me know how that works out for you. My second worst thing about the Nokia 2.3 is that this phone only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. Now again, I understand it's a low-end, entry-level phone, but still, come on. In 2020, 2 gigs of RAM? Seriously? I think we need at least 3. Now if this phone was under $100, or maybe being offered at $99.99, then I think 2 gigs of RAM would be acceptable. But I paid $139.99 for the phone, and it is possible that that's not the final price because I did buy this device on eBay. So it might be available later on for a cheaper price, hopefully at $99.99. I feel like that's probably what this phone is really worth. But for what I paid for this phone, I certainly would have liked to see more RAM than just 2 gigabytes. Of course, my main reason to buy this phone was to make these videos to show you whether or not it's worth buying. My third least favorite thing about the Nokia 2.3 is that the device doesn't have a very good processor. It has the MediaTek Helio A22. Now I am thankful that the Nokia 2.3 at least has a Helio processor from MediaTek. I know that MediaTek also has other processors that are below the MediaTek processors, but the A22 is pretty low end. And again, for what I paid for this phone, I would have liked to see at least a Helio P35. That would have been excellent, and I think it would have made a big difference with the performance on the phone. Now going back to one of the nice things that I said about the phone, with it having well-optimized software, thankfully the software is decently optimized where it still does perform decently well despite the low specifications here. So you're still gonna have no issues navigating around the device, opening up different applications, doing phone calls, sending text messages. Your experience overall still will be good. But again, for what I paid for this phone, I feel like the RAM and processor just aren't up to par with what I'd expect. And you can see here is the Antutu benchmark score where I got 74469. So what I recommend doing is run the Antutu benchmark score on your current phone and then compare the score on your phone to this score to see if this phone actually will give you better performance or not. Now for number 4, there is no excuse about this. So the Nokia 2.3 has micro USB. Come on. Please, can we just stop it with micro USB? I've had enough of it, seriously. Now, maybe the only good thing about micro USB is that I have a bunch of micro USB ports lying around that I never use. But seriously though, USB-C would have been excellent to see in the Nokia 2.3, and I really doubt it would have cost Nokia that much more to have USB-C instead. And I just can't wait for the day that there are no more micro USB ports on phones. That would be awesome. And then finally, my last issue with the Nokia 2.3 is that the Google Assistant button on the side cannot be remapped to do any other function. Now, thankfully, you do have the ability to disable the button if you want, but if you do that, then it's just going to be a useless button that doesn't do anything at all. I don't understand this. I know it's a feature that people love and a feature that people always ask for. I don't understand why they can't just have these buttons be remappable. I suppose the main reason why they probably don't do it is because they probably know that most people would end up just remapping it and no normal person would keep it on Google Assistant. And I'm sure they really want you to use Google Assistant to keep you in Google's ecosystem, but I would have really liked to see this button remappable. So it's a bit unfortunate that it's not. So overall, those are my 5 best and 5 worst things about the Nokia 2.3. Now, over time, it's possible that this phone might grow on me a bit more. There are certainly a list of things that I do like about this device. And maybe if it gets the Android 10 update sometime soon, that will be an even bigger game changer to make the phone even better. But, there are things that I like about the phone for sure, such as having that large, good-looking display. There's no doubt that that's definitely a great selling point with the Nokia 2.3. And then the really solid build quality is something I appreciate as well. But I would say the signature feature that does make this phone at least partially stand out from the competition has to be the good camera quality. And if you're like me, I take a lot of pictures all the time. So being able to get a budget phone that does feature good looking photos and videos is certainly something that I greatly appreciate. But I'm really curious to know your thoughts about the Nokia 2.3. Do you think this is a decent phone? Is this a phone you'd consider getting? And is this a phone that you currently have? And what do you think of this gold color? Would you get this color or would you rather go for green or charcoal? I'm really interested to know your thoughts about it overall, and I hope you like this video. But this is Kevin here. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content about the Nokia 2.3, and I will see you in the next video. Take care everyone and have a great day. Bye.